Hi, my name is Bryce Benjamin, and what I'm about to share with you today is an action research project that I worked on for my leadership communication class at Weinbrenner Theological Institute. The project that I worked on proposed the question of how to build communicative strategies through trust. The reason why I picked this specific question was due to my current context of ministry of where I currently am serving. Currently, at the time, I was serving at a church that had many programs and activities for adults over the age of 40, but not many activities for people below that age. I thought that one reason for this is due to the lack of trust that young adults might have in church as an institution and maybe in individuals as well. I picked this in hopes that maybe I could start a small group or bring people together within this church or organization. I picked this also due to the fact of my own capabilities and my own reason and my own strategies in communicating with young adults. I wanted to move past the current Sunday ritual of saying, "Hi, how are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you? Good, that's great." And then just move on from that. You're not really getting in depth or really finding out where their passions, desires, or even where they currently are in their walk with Christ. In the past, I've tried to say certain things and to move past this certain script that is internally memorized for most of us, but it didn't really go anywhere. What usually happened was I usually got more information from them rather than just getting to know them as a person. So what if trust was one component that could help engage young adults with church again? So in order to do this, I tried to build a strategy. My strategy involved reading books and looking to the Bible as well. One Bible story that I explored specifically was a story of when Jesus was reunited with Peter. In this story, Peter is on a boat and he sees Jesus from shore and then swims to him. But prior to this, Peter denied Jesus 3 times, saying he didn't know Jesus. But once Peter and Jesus were reunited, this is not really brought up. Yes, Jesus asks Peter if he loves him 3 times, and Peter says, "Yes, I love you," all 3 times. And Jesus then says, "Feed my sheep." This to me shows that Jesus loves reconciliation, and there is a place that trust can be rebuilt, because Jesus trusted Peter with feeding his sheep to feed his flock of future believers. Another area that I looked at was specifically literature in books. One book that really shaped my project was Conversational Intelligence by Judith Glaser. It's a pretty thick book, but the part of the book that I used most was her point of how emotion can build trust. I looked at this as empathy, to have empathy for one another. Because going through this, like I mentioned before, most young adults have been hurt that I've come across and that say they do not go to church, say they have either been hurt or wronged by the church. And through this is where I learned to have empathy for them. And it was through the book, The Listening Life, where they talk about a listening heart, where it's not my job to ask them specifically what went on or why they no longer go to church, but it's my job to listen to them. And it is their right to tell me their story. And it's there that I learned that a listening heart is something that takes time and practice, and not something that I would be able to accomplish within a 12-week term time span. I also looked to my mentor as well. My mentor challenged me to meet with 20 new people throughout every week. To me, this seemed like a daunting task, but it seemed like a task worthy to take on. But I guess the part that I really want to get to is what I have learned through this. What I have really learned through this project is that it does take intentionality to meet and to talk with individuals. It does not happen overnight to build trust. In week 1, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was going to church and talking to people, but I didn't really have a set script planned out. By week 6, I found out that stories do make a difference when you're trying to build trust and communicate with one another. It's in the book Harvard's 10 Best Reads on Communication that I learned this, that stories and narratives help bring people together. It can make the unknown terrain known. Specifically, I would tell a story about how I'm not a farmer. I never grew up on a farm, not even around farm animals. But my current context of where I'm at, most people have some experience of 4-H. So I would tell a story about how I just found out that I didn't realize that male cows produced milk. Now, I realize that this is self-deprecating humor and that it might not work everywhere else, but for our purposes, but at least for my purposes here, it did work, and it did help to build some sort of trust and to break the ice a little bit, and to show that I don't take myself too serious as well. And that would open the gates then for other individuals to break in to the conversation and to discuss other aspects of life. But one area that I realized that I should have focused on more is that people that have become disillusioned by the church probably aren't coming to church on Sundays. I should have taken more opportunity to reach outside of the church's four walls and to meet with people that I didn't know or had no connection with, really. Yes, these people that I had been meeting with at church, I didn't really know. I knew their name, but not much other information. But if I would have taken that extra step and to meet and to talk with more people outside the church context, I believe that this project would have been a lot richer, and I would have learned a lot more about individuals and how to build that trust again with the church. So that is what I have learned throughout this semester, and I hope that you have gained some insight as well. Thanks.